The wife of a man who died from COVID-19 is going after Donald Trump. Not just after Trump, but also Texas Governor Greg Abbott and anti maskers for the death of her husband. So now this was a really brutal obituary that was published last week. And the person who contributed to it, essentially wrote it, is Stacy Nagy or Nagy. So now that's the wife of David Nagy, the widow. And again, he passed away from COVID-19 complications. And she decided to ream the crap out of Donald Trump and Greg Abbott. So now let me give you some background before I get into that. David Nagy, 79, died in the intensive care unit at Christus Good Shepherd Hospital on July 22nd. His wife described the death as needless. Stacy Nagy told BuzzFeed News that her husband had several medical conditions that put him at risk for COVID-19, including diabetes, heart problems, and early signs of dementia. So that would definitely put him in the high risk category. David then experienced a fall in late March, which led to hospitalization and his placement in a nursing home to recover until he fell ill in July. So we know in Texas, especially, but in a lot of other places, well, nursing homes were incredibly hard hit by the virus. I'm lucky because my wife works in a nursing AFC home, and her place of work has not been hit by the coronavirus, and so we're very concerned. We're very lucky, right? But nonetheless, we have seen, especially in New York, nursing homes hit there because Governor Cuomo had placed people with COVID-19 in those homes. So now, which was a huge mistake. That said, the obit states, quote, Dave did everything he was supposed to do, but you did not. Meaning, of course, wearing masks, social distancing, all that stuff. The family members say that his death was needless, and they blame his death and the deaths of all other innocent people on Trump, Abbott, and all the other politicians who did not take this pandemic seriously and were more concerned with their popularity and votes than lives. Something that this kind of reminds me of is recently, you guys know I reported that Louis Gohmert has COVID-19. He got coronavirus. So he didn't blame it on the fact that he wasn't wearing a mask. No, he blamed the coronavirus, I believe, on the mask, on wearing the mask. That's not how that works. Okay. And so Louis Gohmert's own daughter was like, no, that's wrong. You didn't take the correct precautions. And so that's why you got sick. A little bit of a Gohmert family drama. So that's interesting. And so she's absolutely right. People not taking precautions. The same thing with Herman Cain. Herman Cain also did not take precautions, and then he got sick. He died, and that's what happens, right? When you don't do that, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. But this guy did do everything that you're supposed to do, and still ended up in a home where he got sick. And so now she continues by saying, quote, also to blame are the many ignorant, self-centered, and selfish people who refuse to follow the advice of the medical professionals, believing their right to not wear a mask was more important than killing innocent people. And ends by saying, shame on all of you, and may karma find you all. There it is. That's incredibly strong, and she's right. But at the same time, I suspect that many conservatives would be like, well, he had problems. He was going to die anyway. Well, that's not the point. Okay. Yes, everybody's going to die at some point, right? The thing is that this death was preventable. This was preventable. And so, look, the Republican Party has done a terrible job dealing with this pandemic. Donald Trump specifically, but also many people, many governors in the states. They've done a terrible job with this. Ron DeSantis in Florida Governor Greg Abbott in Texas, in Arizona. All these places are disasters. And yes, there are even Democratic governors that haven't done it as well either, right? Uh, you know, at least you have some Democratic states who actually did lock down, like California, also still seeing a spike in cases and a spike in deaths. But it's not just up to the governor, it's also up to regular people. It's also up to people, you and I, if we, whether we wear masks or do social distancing. And so ultimately, I mean, when it comes down to it, buck stops with us. We are responsible for not only our own health, but the health of our communities. But it goes up the chain, right? And the fish rots from the head down. And Donald Trump playing this off and not taking this seriously and not urging his supporters and people to wear masks and do the social distancing. And that's also a huge reason why this spread so much. And so, I mean, and to go along with the fact that they played this down, they said, "Oh, don't worry, it's going to be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. That's great. Great." No, we're not fine. We're not fine. The same thing, too. These conservatives also, they said, well, these older people, they would be fine giving up their lives for the markets. Not, and especially like those, that specific term, right? That specific phrase. But that's what they meant. Oh yeah, the older people, we've lived good lives, and we're willing to die so that the economy can get back on track. Oh, really, really? Well, the people who die, and they have died, that were sacrificed for the market, their families are not fine. Okay, their loved ones, their friends, they're not fine. They're not fine. Look, all this shows is that you've got to wear masks and you've got to socially distance. You've got to follow the guidelines. And if you do, but no one else does, well, then we're never going to get rid of this virus. You could do the right thing. And through no fault of your own, if someone else screws up, and that's the problem with this virus, right? That's the major problem, is we all have to work together to defeat it. And to do that, we've got to be on the same page. And I don't think that's going to happen with how fragmented our society is right now. And that means many, many more people will die. Look, some estimates from the CDC are now saying that we could lose about 11,000 people a day to this virus. And it's not just older people with medical problems, it's children, it's young adults. And even beyond that, even if they don't die, a lot of people are going to be afflicted with health issues for the rest of their lives. And so maybe we should think about that before we start sending people back to school and back to work. Because guess what? The virus doesn't just affect us. We are a community, and we ought to start acting like it.